Hi there, we're your hosts Lee and Brendan. We hope you're doing well. In today's podcast of Leaving Care, we're asking the question, is the voice of care leavers missing from the Victorian Leaving Care system? If you've left care, you're one of 400, if you're a young person and you've left care, you're one of 400 young people who leave care each year in Victoria.
Wow.
Out of 100, did you know that 232 young people who leave care each year do not experience homelessness?
Wow.
Well, however, there's 168 young people who have a different experience. Today, we're going to be discussing why your voice matters. And Lee, I think you've got a story that you'd like to share around your voice.
Yeah, I do. So when I grew up, as I shared in my last episode, in a family that experienced mental illness in a parent. I was in a family of 3 and, well, that's the kids, actually a family of 5 plus 3. Never mind. Yeah, and I experienced that as a kid, and one day, I didn't look ahead to the future and think, you know what, one day I'm going to share my story publicly, Brendan, because that was the first thing from my mind. I actually wanted to put it behind me and say, yep, that was that, tie it up in a nice little gift wrap and say, that's the past, never want to open that again. But then that changed one day when I was working with an organisation, and a lovely lady came up to me and said, hey Lee, would you like to share your story, your own personal journey of being a child in the family that experienced mental illness in a parent? Because we're gathering all these families with lived experience together on this particular day, and there's lots of sharing going on from the from up front, and we want to invite the voices of people like you that have experienced mental illness in a parent. Would you be willing to get up? And I'm like, I remember thinking, okay, yep, and my voice said yes. And I remember saying yes, but not really knowing what that meant and not really knowing what it would bring up. But in fact, when I got up and spoke, I remember speaking these words. I remember saying, when I grew up and my dad had mental illness, there were certain things we experienced as kids, and I'm just gonna tell you some of that. So what we experienced was some scary things and some off the road map things, and I didn't get a roadmap at the time I shared, telling me, hang on Lee, this is what you're going to experience. This is what you're going to go through. You're going to go through times where you don't know if you're the parent or if they're the parent, if you're holding them and helping them more than they're helping you because they're really low or crying themselves to sleep. Or you're going to feel things like, I'm not sure what to do. Dad's about to come home and I'm really scared. So as I shared from my heart, I remember starting to feel things. I remember getting tears welling up, and I'm just like, stop. And I just had to calm myself down, look out to the crowd and just steady myself. I said, just give me a moment. And then I had to also remember my heart. I was trying to slow my heartbeat down because it was really beating fast, because there was so much of my story there. And it wasn't just any story I was sharing. It was actually my own story, my own father, my own family, the people that I loved, and remembering those experiences. It wasn't, Brendan, I guess, until I sat down, you asked me about my story and my, the power of sharing my voice. And I never realised the power of my voice until I sat down and calmed myself. And then these people would come up to me, people with their own lived experience of having a parent with mental illness. And they just said, thanks so much for sharing. I realise I'm not alone. You're really brave sharing that. That's actually my story. That's so much similar to my journey. Thank you for putting it on the map. So yeah, and Brendan, I want to say thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to share my story, but I feel that you've got a story as well, something in and around your voice.
Yeah,
do you want to share
I do.
That?
So thanks Lee, thanks for sharing as well. So I don't know about you, but in my experience growing up, I felt my voice didn't matter, especially when it came to spending money. I know from, when I got my first job with the family, really delivering newspapers, and then my first actual job at 18, that the idea of the message that I always got from my family was, save, 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 because that's how you get ahead. So, I just felt, there was no interaction, there was no sort of conversation about it. It was just like told to you. So I just felt like my voice was squashed and I didn't know any different. So I just
it didn't matter.
It didn't.
Okay.
So, I spent a lot of time with my neighbour. He was really great.
Good cook.
He was Italian, and yes, the family were a great cook. He wasn't, but the parents were, and we spent lots of time there, which is awesome. And when I spent time with him, he had a lot. I felt like he had a lot more, freedom and independence, and this was more so when he turned 18, because he got his license and he bought his first car, which was a big Ford Falcon, but it was a car, and we went around and we did a lot of great stuff.
Can you do the
No,
revs?
no,
Okay.
I don't do the revs, but
Sorry.
I don't think, we did a few revs, but we actually went to the footy, went to parties, went to the beach, and it was so much fun. So, I was still saving, because that's what I was told, and so when it was my turn to get my license, actually 19, and
Yes.
then I was able to drive, my family car, which was not cool, because it was a big Holden, and I didn't really like, it was a manual, so it was really awkward. It wasn't cool. I couldn't really go out and pick up mates because we had to share it with the family. So but as I spend more time with my neighbour, then he gave me the confidence to like, well, actually, it's your money. You should be able to spend it on what you want. What is it that you want? And it really gave me confidence, and I felt like my voice really mattered when it came to speaking with him. And so I got up the courage to start looking for cars, and eventually I went to a dealer and I bought my first car, which was a Holden 6-cylinder Holden Torana, which yes, we did a few revs.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. So that day it just felt so much freedom and so much independence. I could go out and spend time with my mates and do what I want. I had that freedom. So
that's powerful.
That's
voice.
That's that really changed a lot for me, and just felt so much that empowered, and that continued to grow as I grew older. But what else happened later on was another family member was actually wanting to spend money and on his car, and he came to me and just said, look, I was really encouraged that you shared, and he bought his first car and he was so excited that he did that. So I just believe that each person's voice really matters, and it can influence the people and family and the community around you, and that's certainly my experience.
Yeah, so that's great. So in closing today, I just want to take you back to what we opened with when Brendan said that, in the leaving care system, is your voice what's missing from it, and just take you back to, I guess, the 168 young people that do experience homelessness in their first 12 months of leaving care. That's a statistic that's often shared, but I feel like there's an opportunity there potentially if you could speak up and share your own lived experience and be part of seeing that shift. That would be awesome. That's why we're doing this, because we're passionate about those young people, every young person in the care system. So today, in closing, I just wanting to say that we're running Thrive Peer Coaching. We're co-directors. We're going to pilot a program, or we're piloting a program where we're leveraging that peer experience, like young people with the experience of leaving care, putting them in positions of coaching other young people that are still in care, and we're going to pilot that soon. So push subscribe. I've always wanted to do that, and like, and share this video because we want to get the word out there. We're based in Melbourne, and we'll see you same day in another week on Sunday with our next episode, episode 3. So it's bye for now from your hosts Lee and
Brendan.